Well, good Saturday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is a cloudy, rainy day. At least it's kind of stopped, and it's supposed to clear off here at the draft. The thing I will say that's amazing to me is in past drafts, like in Philadelphia, after the first night was huge. The second night, not so much. The third day, literally, was like a ghost town. And even Kansas City, we ended up leaving, what, about the fifth round we left? Fifth or sixth?
Yeah, we got out of there like
Yeah.
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, because we were literally driving through the night to get back home. Fortunately, it's only about 7-8 hour drive, depending on how many times we stop and stuff and how many cones we hit. One thing I'm going to say, shout out to Bobby Howard, my father-in-law. My father-in-law would always say that fish and family start to stink after 3 days. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
be nice.
No, don't be nice. Look, we want it raw here, okay? Pause. Okay.
Big
No,
fellas, yeah.
no, seriously. Just like anybody, we're hangry because we went to breakfast this morning, and we didn't get breakfast because it was like literally taking all day. And then we thought about going someplace close to the airport where we're going to drop off primetime Phil and things. But we settled on we're going to be at the sports bar here that we started out, and I did the Dan Salio show from here. And we're going to watch. We don't have any picks in the fourth round unless the Cowboys do make a move up. So we've got a little bit of time. The third round through sixth rounds, there's 5 minutes between picks. After that, it's 4 minutes per pick. So things are going to be coming a lot faster. Things are going to be coming a lot faster and a lot harder. Pause. So I want to ask my guys. I got, here's what's kind of cool to me is I'm looking at how much work that Game Time Brian has done. Take a look at this. Look at this. Look, the pages are curled and everything else. They're highlighted. They're crossed out.
Trying to stay on top of it.
And see, unlike Jerry Jones's, where Jerry Jones is just
A little
scribbling.
sloppy. It was a little cold and windy last night.
There's a rhyme and a reason here on all of these picks and stuff.
You know what this highlighted is, people? It's everybody Dallas has talked to. So, normally, they like to take, especially in the later rounds, and more importantly, with their unrestricted free agents right after the draft. Round 6, they're already on the phone with the agent saying, hey, listen, we want you to come to Dallas if you don't get drafted. They are on it. We are already told that they're going to spend upwards of $100,000. That may not seem like a lot, but when you talk about the undrafted free agents, that's a big number. But they're willing to put the money in to bring these people in. Just a couple of names. I'm thinking everybody wants a running back. I get it. Jalen Wright is still on the board. Braylon Allen, Aldrich Estime, Bucky Irving, Ray Davis. It goes on and on, people. But there's a name that I think we could bring in as a free agent as well. I brought him up. Jace McClellan out of Alabama. He's a perfect role type player. So as we go live shortly, I will bring in more names for everybody. But a lot of talent there, Mark. A lot of talent.
They have the whole fourth round. At the moment, we don't have anybody. But now it's possible that the Cowboys decide that there's somebody that they really want, and they use some of those compensatory picks for next year.
Depends how much it's going to cost
right
to get up in the fourth round using next year's assets. We're not trading this year.
Okay, so one thing that's kind of interesting to me is we got talking last night about the linebacker Game Time. I can't, his name escapes me right now.
Maris Liafu?
Yeah, with the injury history.
Yeah. You mean Peyton Wilson?
I'm sorry, Peyton Wilson. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This is what's funny, people.
It's not funny.
Well, Mark would know. It's funny to the novice draft people like me because we only go by what the professionals who do this 12 months out of the year. They're already working on next year's draft.
Yeah.
As soon as this one's over, meaning the Dane Bruglers. Yeah. But here, and I told Mark this, the linebacker Peyton Wilson out of North Carolina State, he had a shoulder surgery not too long ago, and right after the season, and it did not go as planned. There's issues with the shoulder, and he does not have an ACL in one of his knees. No, they
ain't had one since 1984, people.
They had
1984.
to do something to the knee for him to even play. Now, Mark,
Right,
knows what that means.
well, actually, I've never heard that they had stabilizers.
Stabilizers. Yes.
I want to actually look and find out what stabilizers are, because there's not a whole lot. Either you're attached. What you have to understand is your ACL attaches your front bone to the lower bone, and it also helps to cushion in between it. So a stabilizer, I don't know what you can have for a stabilizer. So I'm going to actually look that up, because that's kind of crazy. And this is a case of where where you start thinking about what is the longevity of the career. Because I remember the Cowboys at one time were interested in Jay Ajayi, and they literally said that, yeah, he's a great dynamic running back. He helped the Eagles win that Super Bowl. But they said his career is only going to be a couple of years, because the knee is just not going to be able to stay together. So that's one of those cases where we drafted like Leighton Vander Esch, who had like the neck issues. When you get injured, those you can get fixed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not susceptible to having more and more injuries. We knew that with Tony Romo as he got later in his career, that the slightest hit is going to be something else that's going to break down. And so staying away from guys that are already banged up in college, for me, is something that the Cowboys just don't do. They have this mentality that in the second round, we're going to get a guy who fell for whatever reason that should be a first round talent. And we've seen some of the things that have happened between attitude, smoking weed, not that weed's a problem these days anymore, like Leo, we gonna get high. But when you start looking at the wasteland of the Cowboys between Jalen Smith, you look at, of course, Tristan Hill, you look at Boss Man Fat, you've seen so many players that just did not pan out, and that second round pick should be a starter on your roster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Now, for me, for it to be a successful draft, and I think that this kind of goes across the board, is you get a day one plug-in starter that's an impact player. You get another starter. You get two starters out of that. You get some depth that are role players, and you get a special team standout. If you can do that in the draft, you're probably ahead of the curve for most people. Thoughts on that? Would you like to add anything, my man, besides dancing behind me?
Hey, man, I like it. Now, I don't know, when you look at these draft picks, I think somebody pointed it out as well too. You look at the first one, Tyron Smith's going out the door. Tyler Guyton comes in.
Yeah.
You got your edge rusher coming in, Dorrance Armstrong leaving, you got Dante Fowler leaving. You're replacing that as well. And then when you get into Cooper Beebe, is it a Tyler Biotis leaving, and you're possibly getting something like that? I'm hoping
That may be better.
That would be definitely a lot better. If you've seen on our channel, I am a big Cooper Beebe fan. I know when we do our mock drafts, and anytime he was there, he's like, look, don't even need to see the rest. I want Cooper Beebe. And you see it. Just as soon as you see him play, his attitude, definitely a lot of pros. I don't really see a lot of cons, but that doesn't say that it's not there. I mean, there's a reason why he drops to the board, right, in their eyes. And the last one, I think with that one, that was a little bit more of a surprise, because I wasn't getting into a whole lot of certain linebackers, and I think he was definitely one of those linebackers I definitely wasn't looking on the board. I thought he was more of a coverage one, but when you look more deeper, it's like an overstrain. He's a bullet. You're just shooting him through gaps. He's missing some tackles. Yes, there's the cons. This is the reason why he's dropping. But if you can aim it at the right direction, if you get him instinctively, he can read defenses and he's able to react. And I think that's what you love about it. Again, a guy leaving, a guy coming in to replace it. LVE leaving, boom, this guy comes in. Peyton Wilson, I know Brian, we were big on him. There's certain things you don't see.
I didn't know he didn't have an ACL.
You don't have an ACL in one of the legs. You got your shoulders. You got all these things that they're coming out now telling you. These are things that we don't see. So of course, if you have all that information, are you drafting a guy like that, into your, especially as high as a third round or anything? So
Right.
I just want to say one thing before.
Just one thing? Okay.
Well, this is what I
You
want
say
to
two things if you like.
Tyler Guyton on the overall big board. Now this is the information that are in most draft rooms. They literally have this exact. It's called the Beast. You know, teams will tweak it a little bit, but number 27 overall rated player was Tyler Guyton. We drafted him at 29 and got a third-round pick. That's a big time. Do not forget, we got 2 players for the price of 1.
Now, Bill Belichick had him as his 24th best guy.
There you go. I did not know that.
not know that.
Marshawn Nealand, 32 best rated player in the whole draft. Marshawn Nealand, we got him. Cooper Beebe, 38 overall best rated player in the draft. We got 3 players in the top 40 people. Okay, now Maris the Alpha, they had a late 4, early 5, but you got to remember,
We don't have that for.
fits a need, and Zimmer loves the guy. He was, if you look him up, don't believe me, look him up. They say he's a freight train. Sometimes he's a little out of control and he needs a little guidance. But it's okay to have a freight train in your defense because
I see.
he's sideline to sideline and he's aggressive.
Well, when you look at him, I mean, if you were to compare him to a linebacker in the NFL, who would you compare him to?
Well, they
Kendricks?
said,
Kendricks, like,
well,
guys
they
in front of
said
him, possibly?
and I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for it, but
We always get crap anyway. So
they said he's a Troy Polamalu light, L-I-T-E, meaning that's how he's not a sideline to sideline necessarily. But remember, we got Overshown. He's a very nimble, but once he sees, he hits you like a freight train. He will miss at times. He will gamble at times. This is where Mike Zimmer will help him and mold him into the player. Hopefully, that's going to be Leighton Vander Esch plus something. Maybe Leighton Vander Esch's rookie year. You guys like that? That's what
You like that? Okay. Well, I would say if I'm looking at the team from where we left at the end of the season to where we are now, our linebacking core is so much better than it was
It is.
right now. In fact, I'll say it's the best we've had since 2017.
They look like linebackers. Like when
Okay.
they walk out, you won't go, oh, like they
we
brought
got
their kids.
safeties
They brought their
flying.
kids to work today.
Now, I think on the offensive line, we're going to have some learning curves over there because Guyton is a little bit raw
He is.
and things.
We're
And
not
you're
sitting here saying that they're going to be the Pro Bowlers necessarily year 1.
No.
Cooper Beebe is that guy.
It's one of those things. I think with Cooper, I mean, you kind of put yourself now in a great predicament. What are you going to do with the guy? Everybody, that's the first thing everybody goes, oh, we're going to give him a lower grade. They're going to give you, the Cowboys, a lower grade on it, not because of the player, but because of what are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? Well, you hear mixed things. I heard, when he was playing in his college, he played only, the guard,
Right.
both guard positions, both tackles. Now I'm hearing there was a little point in there where he did play some center.
And
Well,
he
the
offered to
Cowboys
play center.
apparently talked to him about playing center
And he
in
knows
the
about it.
pre-draft, and he's like, "I'll do anything that they
And
want
it's
me
I
to
think
do."
competition.
he would be an amazing, because if you ever watch him, he is amazing at getting at one block, hitting his hands, getting his hands
He's
on somebody just to
violent.
help hit. Yeah, it's just
In his interview with DallasCowboys.com, he says he loves violence, along with Marshawn Nealand, the defensive guy.
there tends to be a theme.
We got some dogs in this draft.
Well, see, here's the thing.
That's what I like.
See, here's the thing that most of you don't know. And if you really want to understand football, because what happens when the ball is snapped, everybody follows the ball. They go see the quarterback go back and see him get hit or see him throw the ball. You want to actually see what war is like. Okay, I'm being kind of facetious here. But honestly, between the guard, the center, and the other guard, and the defensive lineman right there, it is literally hell. The game is won right there. If you can move that nose tackle off the block, you control the middle of the field. And once you control the middle of the field, the quarterback can step up and pass plays. That's the point of attack, which is the shortest area. That means I'm the running back. I'm going right now, right up the gut before they have a chance to react. If you have a guy in the middle, and this goes both ways, if you have a guy in the middle who can clog that up, and when they try and double team him to get him out of the way, and they can't get him out of the way, that clogs up the middle and makes the linebackers' jobs easier. So in some regard, a lot of people will look and say, well, he should have taken a great running back. Well, a great running back will help you make running plays. Barry Sanders arguably is the greatest running back in the history of football, and had no quarterback, and a shitty offensive line. But most people don't realize that half of his plays were negative plays because you can't always make. What? You got one? Oh, 3 picks. Okay. Final question here goes to David Wiley. So, David, if I put a gun to your head, would you eat a whole thing of mom's spaghetti?
Yep. And a sandwich. They have sandwiches too. And they have rabbit meatballs too. So yes,
Rabbit meatballs?
Yep. Well, he calls them rabbit balls, but yeah.
Man, my palms are sweaty.
I threw up mom's spaghetti. All right, so thank you for helping us take 15 minutes closer to the bar being open. And I'm going to say, this is the next 4 or 5 hours is going to be the end of this draft trip altogether. So I want to say thank you, David Wiley, for not bringing me 2 portions of mom's spaghetti.
I was trying to.
But honestly, and don't take it the wrong way, because I appreciate David is constantly bringing food over. Man, hey man, here's some coffee for you. Hey man, here's some ribs for you. And that's just kind of like, I've eaten so much bad food that I think I'm just gonna have to fast for like a week and just like. I think maybe I ought to schedule a colonoscopy and get the liquid death just to flush out my system, because between the Detroit pizza, the mom's spaghetti, the ribs, and everything else, I'm just a big fat ass. And I'm gonna say thank you, Game Time Brian, because Game Time. Some people will say I'm just lazy. And that's fine. People say whatever they want to. As long as they're talking about you, I don't give a rat's ass. But he has done the work of getting to know all these players.
The best I can.
And but you've done it. Listen, I'll take your word over Mel Kiper Jr. and those assholes that have a
Who
whole.
the hell was Mel Kiper Jr.?
I've never heard of Mel Kiper. Who the hell is
Mel,
but
shout out to the go.
the reality is this stuff is literally a crapshoot.
It is.
It's
still.
You can't tell me that everybody knows what they're doing and Tom Brady goes in the 6th round. Okay, sorry, nobody saw that shit coming. And prime time.
Yeah, if you didn't get it mixed up right before the end, I was gonna get surprised.
Bro, you know I was a wedge buster, right?
Almost.
You know I was a wedge buster.
You'll bust my wedge?
No.
Bust my
All
wedge.
right. See you, everybody.
Like, what are you?
Bars
Threat?
open.
Whoa.
No.
Bust my wedge.
Football.
Oh, okay.
The wedge. Run into it.
Yeah.
Nathaniel.
I'm
No,
messing.
appreciate my man here.
I've been giving Mark crap all freaking week, man. All week.
I think it's because, I get hangry. I think he's just cold.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
He's from Florida. It's like, I'm not used to this shit. Okay? So I appreciate my man giving me all kinds of flack and everything else, and also being the navigator and keeping us in line. Any final words here?
Stay tuned, people. Hopefully, Dallas. I just saw where it's very hard to get back into the 4th round. A lot of people have 3rd round grades. That's why we got 2 3s.
We might need to trade with Philly to get one that's 4.
Let's not sit here and say, wow, we didn't do nothing in the 4th round. We got 2 3rds.
Hey.
I want a 4th rounder.
I do too.
But I think you would have to give up probably a 2 next year.
Or a player. Let's give him a player.
A 2.
Maybe a player.
To get a 4?
I would think so, because where we're sitting, maybe a 3 and maybe a 3 and something.
Here's the thing, man. There's got to be a Dan Quinn guy on this roster that we don't want, that we kind of like push out the door for a draft pick. There's got to be somebody.
So we'll see what happens in the 4th round. But we got a 5th, we got a 6th, and we got 2 7s, right? Or did they trade this year 7? It was next year's 7.
Next year's 7.
So we got.
Yeah.
As of right now, we still got 4 picks. So.
Right.
Yeah, 2 7.
All right, good people. Peace.